My name is Rutger Wollesson. I'm director of the festival. And it's great to see you all here on the first of 3 panels that we have organized around a new initiative that the film festival took called Cinema Reloaded. Please warm welcome to Michael Gubbins, who will be moderating the discussion. Thank you.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, first of all, I'd like to congratulate Rotterdam on what I think is a very brave experiment at exactly the right time. Cinema Reloaded is a positive thing. It's about the active audience, and it's about reloading cinema rather than describing something that's happening. So I think this is a really exciting project. I think that we need to see this as part of a movement here, something which is about us reclaiming the importance of cinema and ensuring that for future generations, we are making sure the audience is connecting and that we're turning that connection into the future of filmmaking and the film business. So that's my little spiel. Let me bring onto the stage, first of all, the 3 filmmakers who are at the heart of this initial experiment. And we'll begin with Pipolotti Rist. We can give them a round of applause as they come up. Pipolotti, do you want to go and grab that end seat there? Make yourself comfortable. Next up, Alexis Dos Santos. Alexis, do you want to go and grab a seat? Alexis, again, probably a huge festival hit, I think, with Ahmed. Very nice to see you too. You see, that's a proper professional filmmaker. This is participatory filmmaking in action. And finally, we have Ho Yuhang from Malaysia, who's on his way up. Again, a filmmaker with Rotterdam, close Rotterdam links, I think. Let me just ask you, first of all, do you recognise, all 3 of you, maybe starting with you, Pipolotti, again, do you recognise the point of Cinema Reloaded here? Do you recognise in your own work this necessity that maybe new technology helps, but about a connection with audiences? Maybe art has got a little removed, and maybe the industry is a bit too far away from the audiences that it's serving. And that sense of interaction and connection as being an important part of what we ought to be doing in the future. I just wonder how much you would recognise that in your own work.
As I mostly work in 3-dimensional rooms, multi-channel, the internet as a limited form is not a threat, or it's not an alternative yet. So I'm less threatened than maybe a 1-channel cinematographer from the rituals how we watch. You know, in cinema, people watch, are concentrated all together in one bubble, and then they leave and spread. And in art, you have always more the chance to get response. Was that an answer to your question?
No, it's a very good answer. And in a sense, that's maybe what you're describing is part of what this process is about, which is cinema through the industrial process is somehow removed from the filmmaking side of it and the audience. There's quite a lot of work goes on between those. And you're talking, you're kind of suggesting that maybe film can follow some of what you're talking about in terms of installations and art, which is a very personal connection, a very close connection, which is part of, for you, that's no compromise. That's part of the process of your art, whereas film seems to put an enormous industrial process in the middle between filmmaking and art. But let me move on to Alexis. No, I guess the question is really, when you look at cinema, and I look at your kind of film, which to me, if you take Unmade Beds, or indeed Glue, I think you're already taking some of the ideas from video, and you're taking some of the ideas even from YouTube. You know, there is that sense of it belonging in that internet world. But at the moment, the way that people find your work is through theatres, which is incredibly limited in the number of people it can reach, and perhaps really limited in the kind of people who ought to be your core audience, perhaps.
Yeah. I mean, I would hope that, like, my films would be online and accessible to everyone, and I don't know how that can work without it being, you know, on YouTube for free. And distributors hating us, or not being able to get money. If this was a way to find both an audience and money to make the films, it can be really interesting.
Well, Yuhang, let me move to you then. What do you see in this process? When you were asked to be involved, or when you looked at Cinema Reloaded, did you recognise any of the themes that you'd been thinking about yourself? Some of the problems in connections with audiences, and maybe some of the interesting opportunities that might come up?
Yes, but this is a very big question indeed. But where I come from, piracy is very pervasive. You go out to eat, and you have people selling you the latest Hollywood films or other things. Like there are stores that sells DVDs, and now suddenly you don't even think those sort of movies are accessible to many people nowadays. Like you walk into it, and then suddenly you see there's a collection of Ernst Lubitsch films. No, really, for example, and it's like, so suddenly this generation of people, they are exposed. We can buy The Smiling Lieutenant. What kind of film is that? Suddenly, recently I saw Pedro Costa films. So suddenly Pedro Costa is available to, can you imagine, to my friends who are fans of, say, Transformers. They may not watch Pedro Costa, but suddenly these sort of films are right there, and then they could, and it's very cheap, for example. I mean, it's piracy. But what I mean is, the availability. Where I come from, this sort of thing just, you want anything. You want to find a really weird Altman film, there is a really, weird Altman film.
Yeah, but that's the irony of where we're at. Although I quite like a Pedro Costa Transformers film. Maybe that will be that could work quite nicely. We ought to suggest that. But I think that I think what you're talking about here is that it comes to a very key theme, which is art house cinema can make very strong connections, and what you're showing and what the piracy in Malaysia is showing is it's not that people don't want art house film, it's that the structures to actually make those available and involve them and actually make any money back to the filmmaker isn't there at the moment. There's a question at the front here.
How does it not become a nuisance, all this meddling by the public?
Audience mix as a co-producer. So in a way they are like also the test persons, what comes to them, to get the direct feedback, what feeling are triggered, what conclusion they make. So it's, and they have no special interest that they would say, change the ending, or they would not intervene in a commercial way that they say, do it like this, then it's more mainstream, so I'm not afraid.
So that we can earn money, so that we can make money from your film or something, because it's not going to be like that.
Yeah, they are not stockists.
It's not like financiers. So it's different.
So I'm not afraid.
Yeah, I think what we are doing is suddenly cinema doesn't come to you as this shape. It comes to you as another sort of shape. But it is still cinema. But it's a very accessible cinema. So you just suddenly are exposed to this sort of new shape and avenue, maybe. Yeah.
No, I think that's one of the most exciting areas of it. And we had a lot of discussion about whether it should be called Cinema Reloaded for a while, but I think it's the right name actually after that, because what you're showing here is that the Rotterdam doesn't want to lose its connections with film. And that tradition, what it wants to do is to find new means of connection, and to me that's what this project's all about. Thanks to the filmmakers, hopefully you'll be hearing lots more from them.
Thank you. Thank you.
We can go down.
And can we bring up the next panel, which is Lorna, Lizzie, Sol. Who else is on my panel? And Barbara, of course.